You know the book, the world's authority on the astounding.
So did anyone else have an obsession with Guinness World Records as a kid? I have so many yearly additions to these books to all those school book fairs. I love looking up random things, and more than likely, this is one of the reasons why I do what I do now. Did I retain anything from reading these? No, but that didn't stop me from getting the next edition and plowing through them. This and Ripley's Believe It or Not were my definite go-to options during the book fair. I should have probably went with actual books, but here we are. But while doing research on a different video topic, I came across in the 2001 edition of Guinness, they list the shortest music video ever made. In 1994, US death metal band Brutal Truth produced a 2.18 second long video to accompany their track Collateral Damage. The video features a sequence of flash frames depicting popular US conservative cultural icons of the late 20th century and ends with a shot of an explosion. And as you can see, this gave me an idea to talk about this video. And while this is a short subject to cover, like really short, there will be a lot to talk about with this video. And as an added bonus, I will also talk about another short video that was also done by a metal band that could technically claim the title for shortest, but for reasons I'll get into, is not. So it is once again music video time, and we are talking about the shortest music videos ever made. Those being Brutal Truth's Collateral Damage and Napalm Death's You Suffer. Formed in 1990, Brutal Truth is described as being a death metal band in their Guinness entry, but they were also a grindcore band that was formed by Anthrax co-founder Dan Lilker. And off their first album, Extreme Conditions Demand Extreme Responses, which was released in 1992 by Earache Records, Collateral Damage was the 7th track. Now, like I said, this video is accepted in the Guinness Book of World Records as being the shortest music video ever made at 2.18 seconds. Now, that's short. And that means I could play the whole song and the music video without needing to cut anything up. Or at least I could, but the crazy thing is, I can't show this music video completely. No, this is not due to copyright issues as far as I'm aware. Writing the script, we'll find out. And it's not because of the song itself. It's an instrumental, so there's no worries about any slurs being thrown out. The trouble is that this is one of the most gruesome music videos ever made. I'm not exaggerating. To break down the music video, it has 58 still frames in it, and then footage of an explosion at the end. Originally, I thought this video was done in 24 frames per second, but after counting the frames, I realized that 1 second had 30 frames in it, so it's for 30 frames per second, which is a bit unique to me. My mindset is that I could theoretically show all this, and it would probably be fine. There is a decade-old upload of this video on YouTube that's still up, knock on wood, but I would like to maintain monetization, and also I don't straight up feel comfortable with some of the moments shown in this video. Because I want to make it clear, watching the music video is literally a blink and you miss it moment, and more than likely people in the 1990s watched this but wasn't sure if they saw what they saw, because I'm not going to sugarcoat this. There are dead bodies in this music video. Real dead bodies. Not just that, dismembered bodies in a couple of these frames. On television, you didn't necessarily have the luxury of pausing to see these without a taped copy of the video. But with YouTube, and in my case also using Adobe Premiere, you can easily go frame by frame to see what was thrown in, and it's ghastly to say the least. Now, why did I go through this entire video? Simply put, it's a combination of curiosity and the fact this isn't a well-documented music video. Yeah, it got mentioned on the Guinness Book of World Records, whose series has amassed 150 million copies sold. That's pretty much its claim to fame. I didn't really find much about the making of this 2-second video, or rather 3 seconds. That's what this VHS tape I'm using says. Not even Guinness gets the actual length right.
Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
So consider this video a way to document this information to the best of my ability. And to talk about this video requires going through, and this is pun intended, the blood and guts of the music video. So I'm gonna break down the 58 still frames of this music video to the best of my ability, as while I really cannot show this video in its entirety, I can at least say what's in it, including the nastier parts of the video. And I'll still show the stuff that I can actually show. The first frame is a statue of Xochipilli, an Aztec god of things such as sex, fertility, flowers, I guess the god of gays, and it does appear to have some association with drugs, which might be a reason why this is on here. Then the second frame is of US President Jimmy Carter.
Each history's greatest monster!
But by frame 3, we get our first dead body. Not the worst we'll see, but unfortunately, not the only time we'll see death. Then frame 4 is of Nazi propaganda of the 1940s with Hitler and swastikas. Frame 5 is of US President John F. Kennedy. Then by 6, we get a mutilated corpse. Then we go to frame 7, which is of a bomb dropping, possibly from an American propaganda film. Then in frame 8, I'm assuming this is of criminals who got assaulted by police because they're in handcuffs. This is an example of police brutality. Frame 9 is a black and white photo of what I believe to be a dead body after an explosion. Frame 10 is of Martin Luther King Jr. Frame 11 is a Nazi Luftwaffe plane being shot down. Then in frame 10 is an image of a mortuary car. Looks like they're about to go to work too, which leads to 13 being of another dead body. And then 14 is of, I believe to be a dead body being called in by police. At some point you gotta ask where these images even came from. This is a music video from 1994. I'm not expecting internet access to these, so I don't know how one would be able to procure these. Frame 15 is one of the more interesting images, as on surface you think just a frame of a priest, when in actuality this appears from a 1941 German film, Kruger, a Nazi propaganda film that was an attack piece on the United Kingdom. You can actually see this shot around the 13-minute mark of the film, and on surface you would definitely have thought this was just a regular priest, but no, Nazi propaganda. Then frames 16 and 17 are more body parts, while 18 is a shot of a meat hook. 19 is a shot of Rodney King, possibly during a press conference, maybe after the police officers got acquitted of his beating. Frame 20 is propaganda of Saddam Hussein, while frame 21 is of more police brutality. Possible there's more context to some of these, but I'm just not sure. Frame 22 is of US President George H.W. Bush, while frame 23 is of a bloodied individual. Frame 24 is of soldiers, maybe from the Gulf War, I'm not sure, while 25 is of another dead body. Frame 26 has statistics of the HIV crisis in the world, breaking down the stats of how many women and homosexuals were affected. Huge departure from what else we've seen so far. Speaking of, frame 28 is of the US flag. I think it's obvious where this is going, by the way. This is a very politically charged music video showing a lot of hot button topics from the 1990s and before that affected American politics. Speaking of American politics, 28 is just straight up a shot of US politician Bud Dwyer during his last moments before his death. And if you know, you know. 29 is of ammunition being lined up, while in frame 30 is another dead body. 31 is of a military tank, and frame 32 is one of a quote by Chief Luther Standing Bear. This might have been taken from a movie since Standing Bear was also an actor, but I'm not completely sure where this is from. Frame 33 is of police brutality, while 34 is of a dead body. Frame 35 is of a tank firing, while frame 36 is of a dead body. You can definitely tell that there's a lot of juxtaposition that they have in these. Like, these aren't usually random shots, that they carefully put all these together, even though this is a very fast video. Frame 37 is of a drone strike. Frame 38 is of a naval ship firing, while 39 is of peyote.
I am the Lizard Queen!
We go to frame 40 and it's of Richard Nixon. 41 has soldiers firing, while 42 has a dead body. Frame 43 is, I guess, a stealth bomber about to lift off, while frame 44 is of dead bodies. Frame 45 has US President Ronald Reagan, I believe about to be shot by John Hinckley. 46 is of a budweed, while 47 is an anti-aircraft gun. Then we got frame 48, which is of Abraham Lincoln, and frame 49 is a map of South Vietnam. I guess Vietnam was still fresh in a lot of people's heads by then, as the war hadn't been over for 20 years, so the wounds were still fresh. Frame 50 is a missile being fired, while 51 is, I guess, the possible end of a bombing. Frame 52 is a press briefing conducted by General Norman Schwarzkopf Jr., who led forces in the Gulf War. 53, this one I just have no clue. Like, you could see what it is, but I have no idea what the context is. This might have been from a random broadcast of something, but I tried reverse image searching this and just came up with nothing. So if anyone has a clue what this is, that'd be great. Frame 54 is of Mahatma Gandhi, and 55 has a German woman setting up flags with swastikas on them. 56 just looks too grainy for me to figure out. Probably also Gulf War related, but I don't know. Frame 57 has a building in ruins, while 58 has a police car. And then we finally wrap up with just footage of an explosion.
Everybody got that? Good.
Statistically, this music video is all over the place. Drugs, political imagery, images of the Gulf War, police brutality, drugs, violence, and do I need to bring up the death? 12 or 13 of these frames I generally cannot show in this brief music video. So it seems pretty apparent that this music video, like metal bands tend to do, is to be as offensive as possible. In this case, to perceived American values in the 1990s. But the fact that it goes as far as to show things you'd expect from a Mondo film like Faces of Death is shocking. But it is a pretty politically charged video with its imagery. So the shocking content shown actually has a purpose beyond being shocking. These images are all juxtaposed with each other, that they are telling a story about all of this happening in quick succession before ending it with an explosion. Generally speaking, I am impressed that there was a lot of thought put into this music video. At the same time, I wish I didn't go frame by frame of this music video to explain it, but that's just due diligence on my part. Also, I really do wonder where these frames came from. I have a theory that some, if not all of these, came off television programs in some capacity, judging by things like this one image of Reagan. That looks like it's from a broadcast recapping the shooting. On the other hand, I wouldn't know who was playing a Nazi propaganda film in the 1990s, but anything's possible. So what do we know about this video? Well, not much actually. The honor of being the shortest music video of all time is what makes this video have relevancy. I mean, having images of dead bodies is also a conversation starter, but I just don't know much else about it. I'm not totally sure why they made this video beyond the idea of they could, because, you know, it's kind of crazy they would go out of their way to make a video about it. But I will say that this copy of Collateral Damage I'm using, which I found off the Internet Archive, does appear to have been a VHS tape that was either sold or given away to fans. It's got color borders at the beginning and a slate that shows what the video is. The copyright date has it as 1993, which I find interesting since the album came out a year prior, and Guinness said the video was released in 1994. The director of the music video is Tom Asma, with the producer being Jim Welsh. According to Discogs, Welsh was the US label manager of Earache Records before becoming A&R director to Columbia Records and senior director of A&R at Atlantic. As for Tom Asma, I could not put a face on this guy. Googling his name gave me an IMDb that I'm fairly certain is not him, and Discogs does have a page on him, but only lists this one video under his name, and nothing else. Maybe it was a pseudonym for one of the members of Brutal Truth, or someone who just did not want their name associated to this? Who knows? But here's the most interesting thing about this music video in terms of distribution. Not only was there a VHS tape where you could watch this, feels like a waste of magnetic tape if you ask me, but that's whatever. This actually aired on television. From what I've gathered, there has been at least 2 confirmed places where Collateral Damage was aired. First being Headbangers Ball. Yes, the legendary heavy metal block would air this for all the metalheads to see. However, it looks like it might have only aired on the UK version of Headbangers Ball with no proof of it airing in the US. So where else did it get shown at? Surprisingly, Canada. Yeah. Much Music aired the music video. In the middle of the night, it seems. They did it on their Too Much for Much series as they aired it at midnight on Saturdays. They would usually use this block to air music videos too controversial for their main rotation, which unsurprisingly, Collateral Damage is. But the controversy was that it was the fear of subliminal messages throughout, since everything happens in fast succession. Yeah, sure, that was the issue. And I would love to show proof of this video being on these 2 channels, but I can't. And this is because of the music video. The only evidence I have this video airing on Headbangers Ball and Much Music is from this one article I found about anti-music videos, which is actually how I first came across this video. And it has hyperlinks to these clips for both Headbangers Ball and Too Much, as the author had plans to go back to these. But they got removed due to violating YouTube's policy of violence and graphic content. Yeah, I guess that was expected. These 2 video links might have been the only places where they were posted online, which is a shame because Too Much for Much isn't really that well documented. I found one that was all about Marilyn Manson. Yippee. We'll say that the writer of this article doesn't think Collateral Damage is too much for YouTube, which is odd. He said that he watched the video frame by frame and it wasn't an issue. Did we watch the same video? I don't know whether or not he saw something uncensored or censored, but if it was censored, would that not defeat the purpose? It's really hard to tell since rips of the music video on YouTube seems to be of so low quality, it obfuscates the nastiest bits, and any attempts at a cleaner version would get removed. It's a weird paradox of what gets on YouTube and what doesn't, which I guess includes possible MTV and Much Music rips, which really does stink in terms of preservation. It would be nice to know how much these were presented back in 1994. And before anyone else asks, I did check other websites besides YouTube for these rips. I came back with nothing, which is a really damn shame. Well, at least we got parodies of the music video on YouTube, like this one of Garfield. Now, I could have ended this session of music video time with this music video, but in 2007, Earache Records would try their luck at making an even shorter music video to claim their record. 2007 would be the year that grindcore metal band Napalm Death debut album Scum would be 20 years old. From what I understand, Scum is a really important album in the grindcore genre. This was Earache's third album release, and there was a great fear that if the album failed, the record company would go bankrupt. This album would end up peaking at number 4 on the UK indie chart and sell over 10,000 copies, thanks in part to the radio host John Peel playing some songs on his BBC One radio program and inviting the band to perform. Now, a famous aspect about grindcore is the fact that these songs tend to be short, like really short. Scum has 28 tracks, yet it clocks in at a little over 33 minutes. Play that for a nice car ride. And off this album would be You Suffer, and this holds the world record for shortest song ever made, clocking in at precisely 1.316 seconds. So if you did a music video to that, it would be even shorter than Collateral Damage. So let's watch the music video, which, by the way, I can actually show in its entirety.
That's it?
Okay, yeah, this video sucks. Like, this is all they had to offer? Like, you could be like, oh, they only had a little second to work with. Don't be so hard on it. No, I'm gonna be hard on it because this video, it's just repurposed home video footage of a little girl jumping around with random video effects sprawled on it. They even attempted to have a little blood effect on little girl. They did not put any effort in this video, and I know that the true intent on making this music video was for Earache to get a world record. Think about this. They not only had the shortest music video and shortest song in their catalogs, they also attempted to go make the shortest album ever made. In 2012, they released an album that was obvious with their intent. Earache, world's shortest album, celebrates brevity at an art form, featuring 13 extreme, straight-to-the-point tracks totaling just 87 seconds, smashing the previous 121-second record held by Canadian dance group Chromeo. They were selling it at 50 pence a second, so that puts it at like 21.5 pounds plus tax. Let me first point out that the Chromeo album has original songs on it.
That's it. That's it.
And look at the track listing for Earache's. It's just a greatest hits album.
Greatest hits albums are for housewives and little girls.
They were just keen on making it be known that they had the shortest length records ever. But it turns out, and I don't know when exactly this rule was implemented, perhaps around 2007, Guinness doesn't give shortest world records to music anymore. According to Guinness, the nature of competing to make something the shortest by its very nature trivializes the activity being carried out, and Guinness World Records has been forced to reject many claims of this kind. As such, we have been forced to cease listing records for the shortest song, shortest poem, and indeed the shortest concert, and I'm also assuming the shortest music video. This isn't even the first time they had to retire records, one notable example being that they were dropping World's Fattest Pets to the risk of pet owners overfeeding their animals. That makes sense, and I believe this explains why World's Shortest Music Video isn't listed on their website, and shortest song for that matter. For all I know, Guinness vacated these records because of all these publicity stunts Earache pulled. This has gotten too ridiculous at this point, and there was clearly no effort made in Earache to make something worthwhile anymore. As well, I don't think Guinness would have given the record to a music video that was made 20 years after the original song came out. I'm not entirely certain, but I sure as hell wouldn't have. There is no way you can make a shorter music video these days. Like, think about it. The shortest music video, if you believe it to be You Suffer, is at 1.316 seconds. You want to shoot something that is less than 24 frames and find a song that is less than that? Good luck making it be seen with the human eye. You Suffer shows how not viable that is. And as for Collateral Damage, I will give it props for finding a way to put a lot in the span of 3 seconds and make it interesting. Even if a lot of it I can't recommend for fear of being put on some watch list somewhere. So there we have it. The shortest music videos ever made. One is recognized by Guinness as the shortest, and the other managing to be even shorter than that, but in my opinion, not given the honors to. And that's just my brutal truth on the matter. Rock on, and thanks for your time. And because I can't think of anything else to play in this end sequence, here's my mashup of the two songs that I call You Suffer Collateral Damage.